behind that easy smile, there's a seriously troubled past.
The way to prove yourself is to better yourself. That's the American dream.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're discussing the dark story of Mark Wahlberg. Come along as we take a closer look at the life of this A-list celebrity to delve into some of its most upsetting chapters. Mark Wahlberg has achieved the sort of success that few dare dream about. From his modeling and music career, he transitioned into acting, earning himself both Oscar and Golden Globe nominations.
Why can't you just shut up and be happy for me? I spent the last 10 years of my life in bad fights set up by you and Alice. I finally got a good thing going for me.
In 2017, he was the highest paid actor in the world.
Can't take it back now. Everybody heard it. It's out there. Everybody hear it?
Over the years, he's found similar success behind the scenes as a television and film producer. Wahlberg is also the co-owner of a burger chain, Wahlburgers, which, coupled with other ventures including StockX, Aqua Hydrate, a Chevrolet dealership, and a cricket team, make him quite the businessman. Instantly recognizable and a household name, Mark Wahlberg is just about as big as they come.
Maybe. Maybe not.
What many people don't know, however, is that Mark Wahlberg has a dark past.
Next time they drag this river, they'll find me on the bottom with the rest of them. There won't be anyone left to say I was different.
And we're not talking about the sort of minor skeletons that all celebrities have in their closet. Wahlberg has made mistakes that could have ruined his life, and which, by all rights, should have prevented him from ever attaining any mainstream success. Because before becoming the big screen icon and businessman he is today, Mark Wahlberg led a very different life.
If you take away nothing else from my class, from this experience, let it be this. If you're not a genius, don't bother. All right?
Mark Wahlberg was born on June 5, 1971, in Boston's Dorchester neighborhood to parents Alma Elaine and Donald Edmund Wahlberg. His father was a teamster and delivery driver, his mother a bank clerk and nurse's assistant. Mark's upbringing was a decidedly working-class one, in keeping with the socio-economic situation of the Dorchester neighborhood at that time.
So I brought back a lot of memories saying it. Most of it was really happy thoughts. Some were sad.
As the youngest of 9 children, you can only assume that the family's finances were usually stretched quite thin. When he was 11, his parents got divorced, and this seemingly proved a turning point in his life for the worse. According to locals who grew up in Dorchester around the same time as Mark and his siblings, the Wahlbergs were a big presence in the neighborhood, one that people knew to steer clear of. They were described as a, quote, tough crowd. Mark was enrolled at Boston's Copley Square High School, but by the age of 14, he had dropped out. And that was arguably the least of his problems. By the shockingly young age of just 13 years old, Wahlberg had already developed a serious cocaine habit and was abusing other substances as well. As he told Vanity Fair, he thanks God that he was never exposed to heroin, because he's certain he wouldn't have hesitated to try it. Many celebrities have had to struggle with addiction, and Wahlberg is not alone in having been exposed to drugs at a young age. But teenage Mark Wahlberg didn't limit his bad behavior to self-destruction.
Were you a good thief?
I was pretty good. I was pretty daring.
Apart from the drug use, his other pastimes included stealing cars, selling drugs, mugging wealthier kids around Boston, and frequently getting into fights. But this soon evolved into racially motivated attacks. In 1986, shortly after Wahlberg's 15th birthday, he and 3 friends were accused of targeting 3 black children.
What am I hallucinating here?
According to court documents, they threatened them, told them they were unwelcome in the neighborhood, and chased after them, throwing rocks while chanting racial slurs and murder threats.
I ain't no double D, homeboy. Just speak for your damn self.
The incident only ended when the kids took refuge in a Burger King. The next day, Wahlberg and 2 of the 3 friends noticed one of the black children out on a field trip at Savin Hill Beach. They quickly picked up where they left off, harassing the 12-year-old boy, yelling racial slurs, threatening him, and throwing rocks.
I'm Irish American and never would I pretend to be an African. You needing a history lesson because you forgot where you came from.
Wahlberg and his friends were brought to court for having infringed upon the civil rights of the victims. Though this might have served as a wake-up call for many, not Wahlberg. Less than 2 years later, in April of 1988, he assaulted 2 different Vietnamese men. Wahlberg beat the first over the head with a piece of wood, leaving the man unconscious. The second he punched in the eye. Both attacks were clearly racially motivated, as he made numerous racist remarks during the attack and following his arrest. When brought to the scene of the crime, he didn't attempt to deny it. Instead, he proudly declared, quote, "I'll tell you now, that's the motherfucker whose head I split open." Wahlberg was charged with attempted murder, but wound up instead pleading guilty to felony assault, resulting in a 2-year prison sentence, of which he only actually served 45 days before being released. He seemingly attempted to turn over a new leaf at this point in his life. Rather than continuing to revel in a life of crime, he sought spiritual guidance from the church and began pursuing a career in modeling, acting, and music. Unfortunately, even as he began to find success, he continued to do and say troubling things. In 1992, he was accused of breaking his neighbor's jaw in an allegedly unprovoked attack. Around the same time, he voiced support for a reggae star after the latter said that homosexuals should be, quote, crucified. As the 90s faded into the background, so did Mark Wahlberg's rap sheet and the collective memory of his violence and bigotry.
We do it like the Italian job.
The new millennium saw Mark Wahlberg ascend to great heights of success. His crimes rarely came up anymore. That is, until he reminded everyone of them by seeking a pardon in 2014.
The Boston native is seeking to have a pardon here to be able to work more closely with local law enforcement helping at-risk kids.
Critics felt that his attempt to wipe the slate clean showed a lack of ownership over his past acts of hatred. Others saw it as a symptom of the privilege enjoyed by white male celebrities.
And there will be many more reasons. And, people have said because of my celebrity, my success, that I'm basically waving that magic wand. But it's not about that. It's never been about that. I've been committed to turning my life around and becoming a productive person in the community.
It was a major controversy. Thankfully, in 2016, Wahlberg abandoned his quest for a pardon and retroactively expressed regret over ever having pursued it. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Mark Wahlberg's evolution has certainly been slower and more fraught than most would like, but he has made significant efforts to become a better person over the years.
Factually, over the years, this guy has supported thousands and thousands of young people, not just in Dorchester, where he came from, but throughout the country.
Though the pardon was, by his own admission, a bad idea, it did provide him with an opportunity to meet with one of his 1988 assault victims and apologize properly. The victim, Johnny Trin, forgave the actor, stating that, quote, everyone deserves another chance.
And I promise nothing like that will ever happen again. I'm sorry.
And thankfully, Mark Wahlberg seems committed to making the most of his opportunities by actively seeking to be a good father to his children and by giving back via his work with dozens of charities, including his own organization, the Mark Wahlberg Youth Foundation.
For me, I just tried to give back to the kids that are facing, difficult situations like the ones I faced, That's why I started my youth foundation.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.